Hello and welcome to Changing the Narrative. I'm Godwin,
And I'm Jay.
and today we have a special guest with us, who's Nana Agyemang. Uh,
Agyemang.
Agyemang, yeah. See, guys,
Properly.
this always happens.
Non-Ghanaians, you see, we always have this problem.
What problem is it, Jay?
Can't pronounce things properly.
Huh? I'm trying to pronounce it the way the British pronounce it.
No. You're Nigerian. Come on.
Huh?
You're Nigerian.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that I can't. Yeah. Anyways.
And we'd like to say a big thank you to our sponsor, African Chica.
Nana Agyemang is a proposition delivery manager and he works at Barclays UK. His main role is essentially managing work streams, supporting business founders in the UK, creating diverse learning content and resources, which we'll probably get into later, that entrepreneurs can go through. He's been at the organization for 10 years, I think. We met at uni, and I think was that your first job after uni?
That I wouldn't say first job. It was the first official job after uni, but I did a variety of different roles, trying to get a quick bit of money in to support the household. Do you want me to go into some of the?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
It depends if there's things you could talk about in it.
Yeah, 100%. It's been a journey. It was definitely a journey. So the first job I ever got after leaving university was a supermarket job in Sainsbury's. And I'll tell you the honest truth. I remember applying for a customer service role, getting there, and I got told you're going in a bakery. And I thought to myself, I don't know what the hell is going on here. But I'm going to take it because I need the money, so I'm going to do what I need to do with. So the only question I had at the time, 21 fresh out of uni, was, is there overtime? And I was told, yeah, there's plenty of overtime. You're going to be fine. But he said it with a smirk on his face, so I knew it was going to be hard work. So I was at work as a baker, so literally, and I had never baked bread a day in my life. So I turned up on the first day, and then literally, it was the middle of winter, so I had to wake up at like 5 a.m.
Wow.
Get to the shop for 6 before it opened for 7. And I remember literally from the dead of winter into the warm of the shop into the freezer to get bread out to then bring it back into the to the room I was baking in. And I was doing that for like probably about 6 months. Wear and tear, I burnt out quickly. I'm not gonna lie to you, because I was asked to clean bread racks and a load of other things that weren't in the job spec. So
That happens. They have to get their money's worth.
They have to get their money's worth. So I did that for a while, and then.
So now I can come to you if I need some bread, yeah?
Oh, of course, listen, croissants.
Are you a certified bread?
And new chocolates, anything you need. Baguettes, anything you need, we can make it work.
See, that's it. We didn't even know this, you know.
Yeah. See, there you go.
I've known you how long? Top baker.
Honestly, listen, it was a struggle. I remember I got transferred from the local Sainsbury's store to one in central London. So I would get to the train station before TfL staff turn up.
Oh, wow.
And I would be waiting outside the station for them to open it up to then go on the platform for the first train.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, I can't live like this. I need to change. And so from then, I left there quite 6 months into the role. I went into Subway. I thought another food retail job. And I remember the Subway was absolutely insane. I worked in the Subway in King's Cross, bad idea, next to the university. Every lunchtime, every as soon as it hit 3 or 5 p.m, it was over. Carnage, absolute carnage.
Are you those people in Subway that like pinch? Is there like a secret that they have to pinch the salad? Because every time I go Subway, it would be like, I want sweet corn, and they'll be like that.
Yeah, do you know what? I was generous with the portions. But I was generous with the portions, but I can't lie to you. You'll be surprised how many people don't actually know individual vegetables. Like I had one lady that walked up to me and said, "Yeah, just give me the green stuff." And I said, "What do you mean? We got lettuce, we got cucumber."
Which green stuff?
What do you mean? She was like, "Yeah, just the green stuff." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever you want." Just gave it like experiences. In all honesty, were real character building, because it taught me the value of showing up on time. Being consistent and like sometimes as well, in whatever role you're in, you'll have patches where you have moments where you absolutely hate what you're doing. You will have moments like that where you're working in a retail kind of job, corporate field, and it's important to kind of just have that long-term vision, delayed gratification. Because I remember even after leaving Subway, again, that was another 6 months stint. I thought, food retail is not for me. It's not the one. Not only do I have to serve customers, I then have to do washing up and doing all the rest of it afterwards. And it's not just normal washing up. I'm talking intense cleaning where your cleaning gets inspected as well. And I thought, I am built for this. So I left there.
That's good. That means we can believe their hygiene ratings.
Yeah, exactly.
No, Subway is serious. They're serious. They're very serious. And then I went from Subway, and then I got a job at Arsenal. I'm an Arsenal fan, so I'm sorry. Whoever
Yay!
I'm just trying to. I don't know why you guys are celebrating.
Let's not have these football conversations.
Like you won the league last
It's gonna go
season.
south.
Listen,
Anyway, whatever.
I don't know where your team's at right now.
Exactly. That's the discussion I always
I'm not
have.
going into that.
London is blue always.
I mean, I don't know about that. But I went into Arsenal for a while, and I was working as a casual retail assistant. So I was on a 0-hour contract, but that gave me a lot of flexibility because what I then did was that I picked up a second job as a receptionist as well.
Oh, wow.
So I was doing a receptionist job, sort of like a 4-hour contract, 4-hour day contract. So I was doing 20 hours in total, 4 hours in the middle of the day, covering the lunchtime with the main receptionist, and then I was working on Arsenal part time. And there was even a point where I picked up a third job.
Because I was gonna say you were work. I remember one time I called you and you're like, I'm working 3 jobs.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm like,
the hustle lifestyle, right?
Like, are you trying to feed a family somewhere?
Send money back home.
Send money back home that we don't know about.
Send money back home. Yeah, like I was sending money back home. I was working a reception job in the middle of the day. I'd work my Arsenal job like in the morning till like very early in the morning, opening up till about noon, go to the receptionist job, do that for 4 hours, and then I was sometimes when I had the energy go to round the corner because it was in central London, and I'll go round the corner to Shoe, the trainer retailer, and I would work there for about 2-3 hours, make a bit of change, and then go home. So I was saving hard, and I was living a minimalist lifestyle at home as well. So I was saving quite well at that point in time, and that was essentially all of those 3 jobs. Just about got me like at that time.
Where you needed to go.
The tax man was happy.
Yeah.
This guy working.
No, but I was within the 20% bracket the whole time. I was on the lower end of it as well. But what I'm saying is like it just about got me the standard living allowance in London, and I was working 3 part-time jobs, and then I ended up moving into the financial services sector. And when I got that one contract, honestly speaking, I thought finally I could do the one job 25 hours a week rather than doing 70 a week plus.
Wow.
So yeah, that was the journey.
That's mad. That's really interesting. Before we go into that though, we've got some questions to ask you. Because that's going to be the bit that we really want to get to.
Yeah, of course. No problem.
So, right. You've had a very interesting journey.
It's been a journey for real.
You've had a very, very interesting
You've paid
journey.
homage.
100%.
But we want to know some fun facts about you. So tell us something that nobody knows, Nana.
Okay, cool. I could have played professionally for London and potentially England with basketball.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but my mum shut it down immediately.
African mum, yeah. No, it's not happening.
Immediately. Because I used to train with like the London... So I used to train with a local young men's team under 21s called Haringey Warriors. So they were a basketball team that were very competitive in North London. There were teams like White Heat, a few other like young men's teams at the time. I got selected for got onto the shortlist after a training camp to train for England. So I got home like, Mum, you never guess what.
I made it.
Soon you won't have to work anymore. It's fine.
You want to play basketball? It's not happening.
You think I brought you to England to play basketball, to bounce the ball and shoot into the net?
You think you're going to get money?
You think Nana, you know, when I was your age, Nana, I was already looking at how, like, I was working 3 jobs myself as well. I was like, Mom, I've done that. I've been there. She's like, Nana, if you want to go and play basketball, you will also find your own place to live. You know? Yeah, and they got shut down. I remember going to tell my coach, sorry, mate, listen, like, I can't go to that camp in Paris with you because of X, Y, Z. And he looked at me like, what? And I was like, I was going to go to France as well, pay for everything.
Oh my gosh.
I went back to Mom, I cried. And then, like, I tried everything. I tried the rebellion, I tried crying, I tried everything. She weren't having it. Literally weren't having it. So yeah, that one got shut down. And I remember when I met Godwin at uni, I don't know if I told him. At this point, I was in uni. I'd lived maybe 6 months with the uni lifestyle, and I thought, you know what, I'm still young, man. I can do this. So I went to a training camp, and I realized my stamina had literally just depleted. And they didn't even select me for the uni team, and I was like, oh man.
Wait,
dark
you didn't make
times.
the uni basketball team?
They didn't select me, bro.
I can't relate. I made the uni football team.
Oh man, it was bad. It was a bad time, man. That was a dark time. I called my mom and I was like, Mom, I hope you're happy
Because I could have been
I
there.
could have been there. I could have been there. But yeah,
That's fantastic.
I think that's interesting.
That is very
funny.
interesting.
Yeah, because I remember my mom one time. I was sat with her and we're talking about footballers' wages, and she was like, "Oh, Godwin, they make that much? Why do you go into football?" I was like, "Mom, my curfew was 7 p.m.
It's not
That's when training starts. Like, I can't go football when we're training. Like, I was at home. You said come home.
I hear it, man. Trust me.
You gotta love African
It's cool
mums,
because
right?
obviously people. Yeah, but I think like obviously it's changed now, innit, for
Of course.
for younger people, because I think parents are a bit more open to allowing their kids to do what they want to do and
Yeah.
be.
Because they've seen it, innit? They've seen the
Yeah.
Sackers, they've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really changed.
And next part we're just going to like a quick question about yourself, just to know more about you, and also the audience can know a bit more about yourself as well. The first question is, what is your favorite seat on an airplane?
I like the window seat. I've got a fear of heights, but at least when I'm in like a actual kind of enclosed space, I'm fine. It's more the free falling aspect of not having something to secure
yeah.
you. But I like the airplane seat because do you know what it is? I was born Christian and I have a strong faith in God, and I just kind of like to. I think especially when I'm on aeroplanes and exploring different countries, like wow, like England is a powerful country, is very relevant in a lot of different aspects of worldwide economics, etc. But when you're exploring different countries and you see the vastness of the sea and like clouds and even
I
sometimes
can't
birds.
stand a window seat.
Oh, for real?
I cannot stand. Do you know what it is for me? It's that enclosed space. You're stuck in the corner. You've got two people. If you want to get out to go to the bar, and I mean, I'm fidgety. I've got ADHD.
I hear that.
So it's just like I want to get up, and I'm like stuck in the corner, and I can't get out, and then I'm seeing all this passing me by, and I can't stand it. I can't stand the window seat.
I'm like Nana. I think I have a fear of heights as well, but I like a window seat. Yeah. But my reason is different. It's because if something were to happen, I'll see it first. So like, I'll rather know than not know. I don't want to be the guy in the other aisle thinking, what's happening?
No, I like to be able to escape. You like if you're on the
I
aisle,
there was a story. I think it was a few years ago where like there was a passenger plane that got escorted by fighter jets. But imagine you're by the window seat. That's cool. Imagine you're just at the other side and the guy's like, yeah, there's a fighter jet. Like, and the guy's like, no, it's my seat. Sit back.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, that's literally it.
Yeah, I'll say window, man. Because you know what it is? I'll say window as well. Because I've been on the time on in the middle seat, and then sometimes it's necessary, even if you've got the window view, to pull it down, like when you're flying next to the sun.
Oh yeah.
Yo, I've been in the situation where I'm in the middle seat trying to sleep, and then I've
but the middle seat is the worst one.
Yeah, I know.
It shouldn't exist. It actually shouldn't exist.
100%, I agree. Less passengers, just two seats.
Exactly, that's it. Done.
Yeah, but I've been there when I'm not on the window and I'm trying to sleep, and then somebody would just open the window up when we're flying right out, the sun beaming in my face. I'm trying to conquer. It's like a 10-hour flight, and I'm trying to sleep. Yeah, and then literally like, Mom, look. Yeah, I've been in those situations as well. Yeah. So if I take the window, I dominate the light in the situation. You know what I mean?
So what's your reason for liking the window seat, apart from the same as Nana's?
I think I just like to see what's happening. And I think when you travel as well, because I think when you travel, a good thing is to enjoy the scenery and to see like marvelous things. Because when you travel, you see like hills, mountains, and these are things you don't normally see from your day to day, and it's good to sort of admire it.
You see that for like 5 minutes, and then you see clouds.
It's not 5. It's not. You'll be surprised. It's not 5 minutes, because oftentimes when a lot of the airports are inland, so they're far away from the sea. Yeah. So you actually see a lot. You see the sea meets the coast, meets the green land before you then get to the airport, and that's a beautiful sight, man. That's part of flying.
The lights and
But the lights, if you're flying at night, if you're flying at night, you start to see the lights. Yeah.
I'm not with you guys on that one, sorry. You can't convince me, never will. Never will. Give me my aisle seat.
Are you scared of heights?
No, I love heights actually. I don't mind them. I don't mind them at all.
I did aisle seat one time and I was like, no, because I sat on the aisle.
Oh, mate.
And like, the person in the middle was just pushing me out to the aisle, and I slept
Woke up with neck aches and all that.
It was a Ghana to London flight, yeah.
Oh, that one.
And I was like, for 6 hours.
Uncle was not having it.
Yeah, and the people in the middle are always like this, and obviously you're trying to not be, you're trying to do aeroplane etiquette, and I'll just push mine away.
I'll every day I can do all my thing and get up and walk around. I've got no issues with it. I'll see it.
Yeah.
What is the worst purchase you've ever made, Nana?
Yeah, actually, I'll tell you. I remember when I was trying to be conservative with my money during the winter. I bought a jacket from no disrespect because Primark do some good stuff, but I bought a jacket from Primani. You gotta say it for correct. Primani. I bought this jacket from Primani. I thought I was stylish. It was like a black puffer jacket at the time, and I was in school. It was shiny. It was bright. I thought, yeah, this is amazing. I only spent £20 on this jacket, and I'm looking as fly as all my friends. And I kid you not, I remember. I was walking home one time, yeah, and in a fit of excitement, I was waving my hands about, and then I lifted my hand up, and the jacket ripped. And I'm telling you, I was the class clown, yeah, for absolutely ages. And then on the way back at home as well, because I was far away from home, I had a cold breeze just blowing. And I remember, yeah, the embarrassment, honestly, literally, that very same day, I went home and threw that jacket in the bin. I'm not going. I'd rather wait till the weekend and go buy myself a proper jacket than go to school with this on. And honestly, that hurt my feelings. I can't even lie to you. So since then, yeah, I can't lie. I buy jackets that are slightly more pricey now that will last me longer because I just can't go through that experience again. But that was probably. That was embarrassing. That's the first thing that comes to mind. That was real bad. It was fine while it lasted. It was like 2 weeks. I was like, yeah.
2 weeks? You didn't take it back. I would have taken it back.
Nah, he didn't want to. He didn't want.
I can't deal.
I was like, I can't
he didn't want more Primani.
I can't deal with that right now. Like maybe some boxes or vest and that, I'll wear that. But like anything like heavy duty, nah. It's not gonna do that.
No, but they've really improved now. You know,
no,
they've upped their quality. Because I remember back in the day, it was
Yeah, I know.
But, yeah.
Wear a shirt one time.
It's over. You wash it and it's done.
It's done. Trust me, yeah, man. That was probably the worst. I'll say that's probably the worst.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
What's the best purchase you've ever made?
Best purchase I ever made, I would have to say, I know it might just sound cliche, yeah, but it's I bought myself my first ever laptop when I was young. And I bought it myself. My parents were basically saying, like, they were promising me Christmas was going to be the time I was going to get a laptop. And I was like, no, I'm born in July. It's the beginning of the year. I'm going to treat myself at least by mid-year. So I saved up and I bought myself a laptop. And when I say that was my best purchase, was because finally I could get away from, you can only use the internet when you come home. So when my dad wasn't at home, I'll whip that out, set it up, you know what I mean, MSN with friends and all the rest of it. But then I was able to kind of like monopolize with it. So even before I was properly working, I would CV edits for friends and that were like slightly older or help friends with coursework and stuff like that. And I was running my own little business at home. Like if you want to help with your coursework, you got to pay me some shekels. You know what I mean? Yeah, but I was helping a lot of friends out with coursework. I was learning about like pretty much social media strategies even before that was all a thing. Like so that was all like High Five and MySpace and Bebo back in the day.
Netlog.
Yeah, you know, all of that. Yeah, and like I was basically kind of advertising my ability to support people with any sort of creative aspects, which then led to a time period where I was heavily involved in music as well, like writing music, producing music, and then during MySpace, and that was all from me getting my first laptop.
It's got some tracks.
Have you?
Man of many talents, many talents.
Yes, we have to. I'm gonna go to YouTube.
Yeah,
and see if we can find something.
We'll make it work.
You will. Yeah, just going a bit about your background because I think that's sort of the next bit of thing. And you obviously spoke about your work life and things like that.
Your beginning of your work life. Because you thrived in the corporate, or you're thriving in the corporate environment. We love to hear a bit more about where you are now and where it's taken you.
And I think one question I wanted to ask before we go there is like, obviously, because we went to uni and you studied English literature, so how was the change going from
into financial?
Into financial.
Yeah, honestly. So let me tell you how I ended up in Sainsbury's and the other stores. So basically, I came out with so the reason I even went to university to tell you the honest truth, like tell you the God honest truth, I actually personally at the time didn't want to go to university. I didn't. So obviously we can. This is I don't want to change the topic, but I didn't have knowledge around apprenticeships, internships, and graduate schemes at the time because I grew up in Ghana. We didn't have any state funded initiatives. So when I got to college and I finished my A levels, I thought I tried it. This was another conversation similar to the basketball one.
Yeah.
Mom, you know, that would not.
You want to disgrace me twice?
You know, like, so I started off like, Mom, you know I love you, right? You know, I work hard for you. I do everything to make you proud. So like, Mom, so I finished college. You know, and all she was saying, you know, like, I was like, yeah,
No.
so, you know, like, I love you, right? Yeah, you know, I've you know, done my A levels. I've got my English, Lit, Business Studies, Geography, and Media. Yeah, so she goes. I said, yeah, you know, I don't really want to go to. Before I could even say uni, she just looked at me like, you don't want to what? I was like, uni, I don't really feel like you're going to uni again. If you don't want to go to uni, you better go find yourself. I was like, here we go again. Here we go. You know, like in GTA when Franklin was like, here we go again. Yeah, that's literally how I felt. But okay, it is what it is. I want to go to uni, but I'm not really going to take this seriously. That's how I felt at the time. But I went to uni and studied English because when I was at sixth form, my English teacher, Mr. Bird is his name. He'll love it. I always tell him, but he'll love to hear the shout out. Was my favorite teacher at the time, and he made me fall in love with English in a way where, even though I came from like a lower socioeconomic background, I came from Ghana. It was like a fringe language that I spoke when I was back home. I really fell in love with the way that you could manipulate English to really work in your favor in any particular type of way. Whereas mathematics is very much black and white, where 2 + 2 is always going to be 4 unless you're a bit crazy. Or, you know what I mean? But, you know, so I remember I studied English Lit at university, and I really thought, you know what, I'm going to make the most out of this. My mum will kill me if I don't anyway, so I'm going to do what I need to do, and I thought I'm going to end up in a journalism-related role. So I really envisaged myself. I turned on the TV, would see newscasters like on the BBC, ITV, Channel 4, and I thought, yeah, I can do that. Like, I'm a good orator. I'm studying English. I can either do that or maybe start off teaching English as a foreign language or something of the sort and get there. Everywhere I apply for, I passed the English degree. Everywhere I apply for, you haven't got the experience. We don't know.
That old chestnut. We know. Yeah, we all know that one.
We all know. Well, how can you get the experience if you don't give me the job?
Give me the chance. Yeah.
Mate, exactly that. So I was so serious about it that I applied, and in the meantime I was doing these menial jobs, just trying to get some money in, and then basically, my mum mentioned, you know what, I think you need to consider a financial services role. So I didn't even think I was going to get the job. I applied.
Wait, so your mum mentioned it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's
go there, mumsy.
She guided you well.
Yeah, she kind of just grabbed me and pulled me.
Gotta apply.
Gotta apply. Bring some money back home. You know what I mean? I'm tired of paying all these bills. So I went through, I applied for the position, and I thought, it's nothing's going to happen. So literally, I applied, and I remember vividly, I went back to the reception role after I applied, did the online assessment and everything, and I was in the receptionist role. And then I got a call from an 0800 number, and I got a call from HR saying, you know, you've been successful at the first stage of your interview. This was in the back of my memory banks. So I was sat there thinking, what interview? What are you talking about? Like, what role are you talking about? Yeah, sure, whatever, I'll call you later. And then I put the phone down saying I was busy. Called me again the next day. And then I did the exact same thing. Like, we need you to schedule an interview. Call me the third time. And then they said where they were calling from. And I thought, oh, crap. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, of course, yes. When tomorrow? Yeah. I'll be there. So I remember literally telling my the supervisor, not the main receptionist that supervised me at the receptionist job, I wasn't going to be able to come in because I had to go in for an interview, and she was real supportive. She let me go. So I remember I turned up for the interview, prepared and everything though, but I was scared. I was shaking like a leaf. Reason being is like, so it was in central London, and I came to the UK, I know we're probably going into this, but I came into the UK when I was 11, and turned 12. And so all I knew in terms of the UK was pictures of when I was a kid in Trafalgar Square that I didn't really remember, or like North and East London. That's all I knew. So I remember travelling, and this was in like Portman Square in central London, like right by Oxford Street. So I purposely took the bus there, and I remember I went the long route just to observe the scenery. So I went through. Then this is old school Hackney, like not gentrified Hackney. This is old school. So I remember I took the bus through Stoke Newington all the way down to Liverpool Street. And like it was the usual stuff until you get to like Liverpool Street, and then I got to Liverpool Street, And I start seeing these glass skyscrapers and men in suits, and I'm thinking,
like,
and I started
different
thinking,
world.
damn, how was pumping up for? I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, how am I gonna compete with this?
Yeah.
So then I get to Liverpool Street, and I somehow took some other route to Tottenham Court Road, and then got to Oxford, walked to Oxford Circus, walked to the interview. And I was shaking. I thought, I don't know how I'm gonna get into this role. But anyway, I went, and I didn't have any experience. So when they asked me questions around like when I've led teams or solved problems or delivered or worked with different stakeholders, I didn't even know what a stakeholder was at the time. I was like, what the hell is that?
Is that something we used
let me wing it.
to put pictures on the wall?
Yeah. I was like, well, that stakeholder reminds me of food. I was like, I winged it. I went in there and I just used university experience, and the lady loved me. And then, honestly, I know you're not gonna like this, but she started talking to me about Arsenal Football Club and my work there because she was a supporter of the club.
So Arsenal.
There you go.
Shout out Arsenal for
No,
getting
big up shout out to Arsenal for the help. You know what I mean? Because that helped me a lot. She'll love it when she sees this. But I remember I got a call back from her saying I got the job, and I'm telling you, I could not believe it. And now this is the funny thing. I didn't even know how to resign from my job. I didn't know what the process was because I was like, what do I do now? I've got this job.
Wow.
I'm working 3 jobs.
Yeah.
How am I going to have that difficult conversation with all my bosses and tell them I'm leaving? And I have to do it 3 times as well. And I'm thinking, oh, crap.
How did you guide yourself through that? So what did you? You said you got to that stage and you went.
Now I got to tell them I'm leaving.
Yeah.
So I remember it was awkward. So imagine like I've got the contract I've been offered from the bank. And I'm sat there next to the main receptionist, and I'm looking at him. I'm trying to hide it before I figure it out. And she saw it, and she's like, "What's that?" And I was like,
By the way, to slide it across the table so she can see it a bit of
I
it.
was like, "Yeah, so it's the contract from Barclays." She's like, "You're leaving?" I was like, "Well, you know,
I love you guys."
I love you," and yeah. And then that in itself, though, in this awkward way, taught me the importance of just what's the word I'm looking for? Just negotiation and being able to actually explain your position, ask for either a better salary offering or express the need that you need to leave. So even though it was awkward at first, she was nice about it. She was fair. And she goes to me, "You're gonna have to go tell the CEO of the company." And I thought, damn, why are you gonna do me like this? Why? But in all honesty, I went over there timid as hell, like, "Excuse me, sir, you know,
I'm leaving.
I'm leaving it.
I got this job," and I was stuttering as hell, like, "It's been great working with you." But he took it and he took it well, and he was really happy for me, and then I was able to do that, repeat that same similar experience.
So you got the experience, you got the tried and tested piece there, and you were like, "Let me go take it to the other 2 jobs now."
Yeah, honestly, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I did that with the job in Shoe. I decided I'll keep the Arsenal job because it was 0-hour contract. So it was still, I thought, now I got 1 job, but if I got the 0-hour contract, I can do 10 hours this week, 5 hours here. So I was still calculating like that. But I remember getting into the role, signing the contract, sending it off, and I started the day after my birthday, which was crazy as well. And my branch manager was Ghanaian as well, which was interesting. She was like, she's like my big sister now. Shout out to Regina. She gave me the auntie schooling away from home when I got there, so I had my mum away from home. But yeah, I remember I had major imposter syndrome because not only am I in this rich affluent area, I also got there with like. I'm in this rich affluent area, but then I've also got a background in English lit, and I'm in a financial services company, calculating money, doing all kind. And I thought, I don't know, man. I didn't study maths for a reason, but luckily, we got the self-service and the computers there to do that. But I was able to navigate and get there eventually and use my degree. I'll say.
We talked about the imposter syndrome in one of our episodes, didn't we? What's your thoughts on the imposter syndrome? Do you think it exists?
No, 100% it does. It does. I would say it exists at varying different levels for different people, but it does. Like some people have imposter syndrome on a level, and I think it really has a value. It really has strong links to how you're brought up as a kid. Primarily, I wouldn't say there's a set age, but as a kid, maybe I would say when you start getting your faculties, like when you're 4 or 5 and you start understanding basic things, and until maybe about the age of 11, 12, when I got into the country and migrated from Ghana, depending on how you're brought up, whether you're brought up to have role models or see that experience, whether it's, you know, just even if you're with just dad, just with mum or whoever, as long as you've got somebody you can look at and say it's possible, I feel like that gives you a certain level of courage. If you have imposter syndrome where people are like, I don't even know if I can go for an interview, I'd like, it doesn't matter where it is. I've met people like that don't have that kind of drive to even get their CV done because they feel like they're gonna get shut down. There's imposter syndrome on levels where you feel like you're gonna get to a certain point, but when you get to like the middle management level, it's a bit too high for me. And you get people that feel like, and then they
don't want to go higher.
Varying ways. You get it from the socioeconomic lens. I'm too poor to be here. I'm lucky I'm here. Or you get it from like even the gender lens of, I'm a woman in a room full of men. Or, you know, the disabled lens, or I've got a disability and I don't know if I'm going to be looked at in a certain type of way. Or I'm a military veteran and all I know is the army or the navy. And so like, I think it's real. I've experienced it before. Like when I've experienced it in a level on imposter syndrome is deep because you could speak for hours about this. Like I experienced it on a level of, firstly, I experienced it on a level of I don't have the qualifications to be here. I had an English lit degree. I'd done the degree, but I thought everybody here studied business management, mathematics, accounting, and finance, and I'm here with an English lit degree. What am I doing here? Like,
I think another thing as well, even with that, you just touched on is that back in the day when people used to talk to us about working in a financial institution, they used to just be like, "Oh, you need to be an accountant," and even things like that. Just people telling you. So I can imagine when you're there and you're like, "Wait, I'm sure someone told me I need a degree. Would they find out that I did English lit and I'm here?"
Yeah. So no, you're absolutely right. Like you get imposter syndrome sometimes from the lack of basically lack of knowledge. You get imposter syndrome sometimes from a view of like ethnicity. You get it along the lines of socioeconomic inclusion as well. So for example, I remember one time, one of my promotions, I got a role as a relationship manager. So I was client facing and I went out. So I was 23, 24 at the time. So very young still, managing like client relationships with businesses that turn over 500K to 1 million, 1.5 mil. So big established companies that are like SME stage, small to medium enterprises. And I remember I turned up to see one of my clients here. The woman opened the door, looked at me, looked me up and down, and I could tell what kind of look that was as well. And then she goes, "Are you the apprentice or my banker?" And I sat there and my heart sunk, and I was like, damn. And I looked at her, I looked down, I looked up, and I was like, "I'm your banker." And I said it, I didn't have a lick of facial hair on my face, nothing. Literally just turned up this young 23, 24-year-old, like, "Yeah, I'm your banker." And she's like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, you can sit over there." And I just knew what it was.
Yeah.
So where does that practice sit?
Yeah, but then how did you feel like when you came out of that? So you had that meeting with her, and then you came out of it. Did she seem convinced that you knew what you were talking about?
At the end of it, 100%. At the beginning, so it was kind of, and you can feel energy. It was a vibe. So the energy I got was, you don't really know what you're doing here. Like, how can you be 23? Like, obviously, she didn't know how old I was, but she knew I was young. You're a very young guy. How are you here trying to tell me how I'm going to successfully run my business turning over plus 500K a year? And I after at the end of the meeting, when I'd given her a few suggestions, actually critiqued a few of the things that she was doing, and she saw I was actually writing what I was saying and explained success stories of a couple of businesses and brought her my laptop out and showed her a few projections, all of a sudden it was like, "Oh, when are you coming next then?" You know what I mean? And like, I feel like it's imposter syndrome, but don't get it twisted, for that 5-second moment, I literally felt like, but then I took it.
You felt like, am I an imposter? Am I meant to be
am I really meant to be here? But then I thought, you know what? I'm going to take your ignorance and I'm going to show you that I actually know a lot more than what some people your age would know about financial services. So I was able to turn that around. Even another moment was, this was a lot more positive moment, but I was with like some senior government officials. I just haven't, because I was 3 days into a role. I went down to this meeting just around like how we were going to be shaping a project we were working on, and there were like senior officials like from government. There were a couple of different industry directors from different areas of like from education, from life sciences, all of these different fields. And I'm sat there, literally, and the first thing my line manager asked me is like, "So Nana, what do you think we could do to from a business lens? I'm generalizing here, but to support ethnically diverse founders and also include an element of socioeconomic inclusivity in that." And I sat there and I looked at him. Why would you do this? Why would you do this to me? Day 3 in the job. And I thought, why? Yeah. So I turned around, started answering the question, and I saw like in the distance a few nodding heads. So I'm like, okay. Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
So I started feeling myself a bit
Yeah.
more, and I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
so this is actually resonating with
Yeah.
people. And then I started to realize as I was speaking, I was like, wait a second, you're the one young black person in this room from inner city London. You're the only one that really knows what's really gonna resonate with people.
Yeah.
On a level, like you have very intelligent people that will make assumptions, but they've not lived your lifestyle. They haven't had the friends that you've had. They haven't experienced inner city London like you have. And so I thought, you know what? Yeah, man, I know what I'm talking about here. And then I started breaking things down. And then lo and behold, some of the recommendations I made back then are still being carried forward by the company now. So you meet imposter syndrome, but there's different ways you can handle it. You can handle it on the level of, you know what? Even if I make a fool of myself, I'm still gonna go with this, and I'll learn from the next time. And then another thing with imposter syndrome is, if you don't know something, there's no shame in saying, okay, sir, all right, madam or miss, I don't have an answer for that for you now, but what I can do is research that, look into that, and I'll come back to you by X date with an answer. There's no problem with saying that, rather than trying to
try and make it up, and then you're falling flat on your face.
Exactly.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Before you go, it's interesting because you're talking about obviously imposter syndrome, and we have an episode talking about confidence and things like that, and being confident in yourself, which is where we had a discussion about imposter syndrome. Yeah. So I think it's interesting seeing your journey and how you deal with it, because when I speak to young people as well, one of the things I keep telling them is like, you're in a space because you're meant to be there,
100%,
and because you're an expert. You might not be a full expert, but people trust you enough to be there. So even if you don't know it, even if you're not sure, it's best for you to go and research and arm yourself with information to be better in those situations.
100%.
Because you're always going to face it regardless of where you are. From the top, when Brexit happened, we had a meeting with back in the day, because I used to work for a pharma company, and we had a meeting with like all the top pharma companies where a lot of the CEOs, they were on a call, and we were trying to discuss what the route was and what their plans was, and everyone was looking for answers from everyone. But these are people at the top that you'd think, you guys should know the answers. And if those people even have to question and ask for answers, then wherever you are, you just need to arm yourself with the information, and then that's it.
And I think in that episode we was talking about imposter syndrome. My point was, I didn't think it existed, and my reason was because you can't. If you don't know something, you don't know something, right?
True.
And you can't be an imposter if you're willing to learn that information to get you to where you want to be.
I get it.
So, are you really an imposter? You're just somebody who doesn't know all the facts.
Yeah, no, I get you, and I agree with that. I feel like maybe the framing of the word imposter syndrome makes it sound a bit dramatic.
Exactly.
But I think to a degree, maybe if you don't want to call it imposter syndrome, but call it like maybe like almost like a feeling of not belonging. I feel like you can definitely feel
that's
that.
Better, I think.
Feel like you can feel that. Like just feeling like you don't belong, like that feeling of non-belonging. Because I feel like that's why even in university, for example, people join African Caribbean societies or Asian societies because you might go somewhere like Scotland where you're an extreme minority.
There's no ACs there,
and you gotta find your way to fit in. But like I think like to a degree, maybe not imposter syndrome and such. I get what you're saying, but some variant of it, like where like, for example, like I'll tell you for honest fact, I honestly felt like when I saw those men in suitcases and they were coming out of those offices looking serious with shiny shoes and everything was polished. The shirt looked like it'd been steam ironed, dry clean. I thought, damn, I don't know if I'm gonna fit in here, man. I could just about do the tie in one, and like I could just about do my tie in one kind of setup. And these people probably know how to tie different cross nuts. And I'm thinking,
what you just touched on is important as well, because we speak about creating beacons for people, for young people especially. And obviously you speak of someone who came from Ghana and came to the UK, and sort of your worldview was limited. Obviously you saw Trafalgar Square in pictures and you saw other places, but you didn't experience it. And this is what we're saying is good for us to try, and even us doing this podcast, for example, is just trying to create beacons that people could see, 100%. That you could come from anywhere and still make it, but also making sure that they are visible, because it's easy to say to someone, oh, you could do it, you can make it, but then when they can't see an example that they can follow, when they can't see a model, when they can't see someone who's made it already, it's difficult for them to sort of relate and have that confidence.
Yeah.
to pursue their dreams.
Yeah, I hear you. I wouldn't even say I've made it. I'll say I'm still on the pathway. But I get what you mean. That is paving their way.
Yeah, people. Yeah, not made it in the sense
Yeah.
of you've made it, but it's
Yeah,
a
no,
sense
of
of
course,
like
but you've got what
people who
foundation.
can be thriving
100%.
in those environments. People who can be doing really well in those environments.
You sparked a thought, if I can quickly say, because even on the whole imposter syndrome concept, this is the first time I experienced something similar to this. When I went to university and I realized how big even the UK is. It's not just London.
Yeah.
I remember. And this is why, like there's sayings out there like you're the reflection of your 2 or 3 closest friends, like really and truly that you hang out with. I remember I was in school. I was one of the smartest kids in my school. I got like 11 or 12 GCSEs. My dad turned up. Nana, why? I remember I got like 4 A stars, 5 Bs, I got 4 A stars, 5 As, a couple of Bs, and like 3 Cs. Yeah. Nana, why C? That was the that was the first thing he said. I said, look, I got 4 A stars and 5 A's.
Yeah, your friends don't care.
No, it was 4 A stars and 4 A stars and 4 A's and B's and 3 C's. Nana, why C? I looked at him, I was like,
it's similar to like my dad as well. It's having an African parent thing, because obviously I grew up in Nigeria, and I remember coming home one time, because in Nigeria how it works is at the end of the year they do like an exam, and then you get ranked based on what you score in the test.
Yeah.
So like before then I would be like first. Then I remember this one year I came second. Like, but it was high. It wasn't like I did work bad, but it was high, and I came.
It was
second.
like Man City, Arsenal.
Yeah. It was like Man City,
was-
Arsenal second, yeah. And I came home to my dad, and I was like, "Oh, here's my result." And he goes to me, "So the person that came first, did they have 2 heads?" And you know when you're there, and you're thinking, "Wait, they don't."
So what was but that's African parents. Same. We've all got stories like that. So I can't remember what exam I think it was religious, some ambiguous subject.
Yeah.
We had like end of term exams, and I took my exams. We did our exams, and I got 95%.
Damn.
I was like 95%. I was like, sitting there going, yeah, I'm really happy with myself. Took it home, told my mum, got 95. Well, why didn't you get to 100? Why? It's 95. It's 95. Still not pleased.
No.
You have to be
I relate to
the
that.
drive.
I relate to that. But check this now, yeah? So I've done all of that. I feel like I'm the man in school. Like, I think it was 3 A's. 1, 2, 3. I don't want people in the comments thinking, well, you can't count. It's 3 A, 3 A stars. 3 A stars. 1, 2, 3, 4 A's. A B, and then and a couple of C's. Now, basically, I remember I took that. I did my A levels, yeah, and when I did my A levels, I did English, English, geography, business studies, and media. I passed all of them. Got into uni, and I thought like, I'm reasonably smart, inner city London. So you get to uni, first ever lecture, not even a lecture, first class, yeah. It's before I met Godwin even. So I'm in the classroom, and then they're asking everyone, tell us a bit about your background, where you're from, and what hobbies you have. Mm-hmm. So I'm getting ready to say, I played basketball. I played, men's basketball. I train with London. I thought I'm the man. I'm gonna be, like in London, you go around saying, I used to go to London. People are like, yeah, man, yeah. So this girl starts. She's like, yeah, I go snowboarding in the south of France, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's just her. Somebody else was like, yeah, so my family owns 6 horses, and I'm like, someone else was like, yeah, my dad owns like an estate agent, and I was like, oh, okay, and they got to me, and I was like, yeah, I just go to church, and I volunteer in church, and I read the Bible thoroughly. I didn't want to say I play basketball because I thought I'm just gonna look like a stereotypical black kid from London. I've got to say something that's a bit out of the box and unorthodox. But that gave me real imposter syndrome because I thought, damn, these guys are probably smarter than me. They've got money. Their parents probably paid their whole uni tuition, and I'm here. So not maybe imposter syndrome is the wrong word, but at that point I felt like, damn, man.
What am I doing here?
You know what I mean? But I was able to push through.
The title of this episode is about thriving it. How do you think you're thriving in the corporate environment?
I'll say by two words, yeah, before I go into like detail. Being consistent and being fearless. That's the two things I'll say you need. Consistency, because consistency is literally sometimes like I think Mike Tyson, it's probably a Mike Tyson quote, or it might be wrong, might be misquoting, but there's a quote out there that says basically sometimes the only way to be excellent is to do what sometimes you hate to do but do it like you love it. And what I mean by that is like you might hate to go to the gym and exercise, but if you want that 6-pack, you're gonna have to do it in the middle of winter. You have to do it even though you hate it and your body's hurting and it's cold outside. You gotta do it like you love it. To be excellent at something, you gotta do what you hate to do but do it like you love it. Because like there's been times climbing the corporate ladder when I've done roles and I thought I absolutely hate this. I don't know why I'm doing this. I'd rather be at home chilling, working from home or whatever, and I didn't always have that option, but I got up every single day, went to the office, met with people, went out to see customers, did all of that. Consistency. Fearlessness is another thing, because I feel like, and we can touch on this as well, when you come from a lower socioeconomic background, and to a degree, without sounding like too dramatic, sometimes that job is the only hope that you got. Like, it's the only thing between you and your family getting evicted from home. So you think I don't care what I need to do, I'm gonna make sure that this works by any means necessary. Whereas I feel like if you come from a family where you're a bit more comfortable, maybe even though we don't really have a middle class in the UK anymore, but you're from a middle class background, it's like, if I lose this job, I can just go get a job here, or my dad will have a friend here that can get me a job. And fearlessness is especially when you come from a low socioeconomic background, for me, made me feel like I need to make this work, and even though I'm scared of hell, like I'm out of my wits, and I need to make sure that I give my best here to at least. Even if I go out bad, at least I fall on my sword and I tried, and I did what I did. I just at least wanted to know that I tried, and I wanted to consistently get better every day. I didn't learn everything at once, but I got better gradually. I had a view of, okay, I'm going to learn how to count the notes and fold them up this way today. I'm going to learn the way to operate the tills tomorrow. I'm going to learn how to speak to customers this day, and then bit by bit, I'm going to compound. You put. Like everyone talks about interest and how it compounds, and you put 10 grand away, you let it build up and compound interest. A couple of years, you have, you invest in money, you invest in the FTSE or in the right way, you can have 100 grand plus when if you let compound interest do its thing. I believe you can apply that same concept in life in terms of your ability to do things. When I started playing basketball, I didn't even know what a layup was. I didn't know. I was traveling, running around with a ball like I was playing volleyball. You know what I mean? Or I was playing netball. But then I in the same way with the corporate world, I applied myself, learned how to do things gradually, one step at a time, and I was able to get there. Then I identified soft skills that I had. Like I'm a good negotiator. I can articulate myself well. I identified very soft skills that I had, and I used those to my strengths and really got better at that. Like Bruce Lee said something around, I fear not a man that knows 1,000 kicks. I fear someone that has practiced the same kick 1,000 times, kind of thing. And so I basically took what I had and I made sure I was expert at that. So when it came down to it, people know, like, he might not know everything, but what he does know.
We'll go to that for that. We'll go to I think that's good, because when you work in the corporate, oftentimes they'll be like, oh yeah, I know this guy that knows X. Like there's always that someone, but you could tell it's because they've taken the time out to learn that knowledge. Go on, Jay.
I was going to say, again, because we're going to refer back to, because we've obviously done quite a few episodes. One of the main things when we had Franklin in, he was talking about consistency. It runs through everything. I think it's so important just to be consistent in your sports, consistent in your day job. Just consistency can lead to so much in the end. And I think you've said it again. Even in the corporate world, you just got to be consistent.
100%. Yeah. Honestly, consistency can get you out of jams. I've been in situations where, like, I was being criticized for my performance and like I've even had those kind of conversations where I've had times where I felt like I was being treated unfairly. I was told, you could end up in a performance plan, or this XYZ could happen, and I thought, bet I'm gonna show you that I'm better than what you think I am. And I was consistent to the point where another hiring manager reached out and said, I want you on my team, and I was like, see you later. And I'm like, you know what I mean, by consistency. Whereas if you don't apply consistency and you let those kind of situations get to you, you let people win, because what will then happen is then you end up going on that consistency plan, you end up getting managed out of a company, and then before you know it, like, you're in a negative situation. I thought to myself when I first started in banking, like, there's no way I'm gonna I didn't think I would ever, like, when I got in there, like, I had the imposter syndrome, I had the moments, and then I thought, you know what, I'm here though. Like I'm actually,
Yeah.
I'm wearing the
Exactly.
uniform.
Yeah.
I'm here. Like I've arrived.
I made
here.
it.
Yeah, man. Well, you know,
I made it.
Mama made it.
Mummy, I made it. Yeah.
yeah, man. I remember I got my first paycheck here. I put like 80% of it away, and I was like, yeah, I'm saving this money. I've never seen this type of money in my life.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, I'm actually paying national insurance now. I'm actually buying enough that they're taxing me national insurance. I'm actually there. So that's when I felt like, yeah, I made it, man. Living at home, not too many expenses. I wasn't even paying my own phone bill then. I thought, you know what? Stack this money, man.
Yeah.
100%. And yeah, being fearless, because I'll tell you this. On my first day that I started, one of the managing directors that managed the community, lovely lady by the name of Becky. Much love to Becky if you see this. So basically, she mystery shopped the site I was working in.
Wow.
And turn up, and thank God I was on job. I was on my job, but I was helping customers, coordinating, just doing my thing. And she walked in and was like, "Oh, excuse me, I would like to do X, Y, Z. Could you help me out?" She didn't follow up through a transaction, but I was helpful. I did what I needed to do. I carried out my etiquette. Then I went to the staff room at lunchtime, and I saw her there. And I looked at her. I was like.
I'm so
confused. No, I looked at her. And I went upstairs. I tapped my manager. I was like, "Yo,
where's that customer?"
She said, "That's not a customer. That's the community director." I said, "The community what?" Community director. So I went back in there. I was like, "Hi." She called me over. She's like, "Don't worry, you're fine." Yeah. And I thought, oh.
But that's also the consistency part as well.
Yeah.
Consistency and fearlessness.
Yeah.
So where do you think the fearlessness came from?
Yeah, interesting question. Great question. Fearlessness comes from, all right, and I say this, I watched a Busta Rhymes Diary of a CEO episode, and he mentioned this, and I resonate with this so much. Like, fearlessness is like I mentioned, a point of, it's almost like, I can't afford to mess this up, but I also have nothing to lose, really. So I'm going to shoot my shot. And you have to be a bit maniacal. I know and Busta Rhymes said this, and I totally agree with it. If you say to someone you're a bit maniacal, like you're a bit of a maniac, it sounds like a derogatory term. But you really have to be a bit of a maniac. I met a community director. I went home and I told my mom, and I sat there in my bedroom, and I thought, oh, wait a second, like. She's X age, I'm X age at this time. I'm 21. I thought like she's in her mid-30s at this point. I thought, but that's 10 years. If I really just do 10 years of hard work, why can't I do that?
Yeah.
Like, most people will be like, oh, I don't know about that. That's a bit too high. It's a managing director. It's a director position. I'm not going to get there. There's no chance. Me, director, no? And I sat there and I thought, no, but like for real, like I could use that money, and I'm calculating. I go on Google and I'm calculating like, yo, like I could buy 2 houses with this and send some money back to God. I was like, no, I could do
some money back to God.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that fearlessness comes from a point of like having nothing to lose and being a bit of a maniac and thinking, yeah, but why not? Like I could do that. Like I could become like a head of function or a head of a business area and work my way up as long as I put in the consistency. And there's also that thing of like when you come from a ethnic minority background or you're from a lower socioeconomic background, a lot of the time you got people depending on you as well, and it's that kind of thing of like, yo, like I can't let my grandma down, I can't let my mom down, because you know what I mean, and it's like that kind of thing of like I need to just do this responsibility,
and the bills, the bills never stop.
That you need to contribute.
The bills don't stop.
The bills don't stop, man.
You go on holiday, bills are still there.
But then you know what? A point you touched on about the fearlessness as well. I was so lucky because my branch manager was a young Ghanaian lady. Probably about, at the time, she was probably about 32 at the time. And she was a manager in the middle, one of the branch managers. She was an assistant first and then became the branch manager. But she was the most senior assistant branch manager in the middle of Piccadilly Circus, 32, 33-year-old Ghanaian woman. And I'm sat there like, I can do this. You know what I mean? If I didn't see her there, maybe, you'd
be like, oh yeah, there is
I looked at that, I looked at that and I thought, no, I can do this. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I might not know what I'm doing today, but give it a couple of years and I'll get there. So that's where the fearlessness came from. Having a visible role model, having people that depend on me, knowing that I had nothing to lose. So I thought, you know what, just go for it and then see what can happen. And then on top of that, I'd been baking bread in Sainsbury's, waking up at 5 a.m. I'm not going back. Start from the bottom now. I'm not going back.
I'm not going back to be baking again.
I'm not doing that again. I'm not cleaning bread racks again. Yeah, so that's where it came from, obviously.
That's fantastic.
I think one thing I wanted to touch on as well, when you talk about thriving in the corporate world, I think my take on it is, because I've experienced this a few times as well, is that in the corporate world, it's like playing a game. The whole corporate world is like playing a game. except sometimes you don't even know it's being played, and then you just end up as collateral. So I think you don't know the game is being played, but you're part of the game as well. Like everyone in the world is part of the game, but you need to get locked in, and you need to like get your mindset into that space where you're like, so this is the game, but this is the system. I need to understand it, and this is how I can game the system and benefit from it. Because otherwise, you're gonna end up in situations where you're just like, huh, what happened? How did I?
Yeah. I would say so working hard is important, but it's even more important to work smart. Like people say that all the time, but let me give you an example of that. So LinkedIn is a thing. Yeah, I remember. I'm very active on LinkedIn now. Previously, I wasn't. When I told people I've only had LinkedIn for like 2 years, they're like, "What?" But let me tell you what it is. So I'll say this. Let me say one point first, and I'll get onto the LinkedIn point very quickly because you sparked a couple of thoughts in my head. So it's important to have mentors, number one. But the thing is, if you're like, for example, a black young boy or girl, yeah, don't do the typical thing of go and get a mentor the exact same race as you, the exact same gender. I'll tell you why. Because what you need to do is really, whether they're white, Asian, wherever, try to get somebody that is really and truly a totally different race to you and the opposite gender. Somebody that you might see on the street, and if you didn't have any business with them, you just walk past and not even acknowledge their existence. The reason I say that is because you learn a lot about cultural nuances. You learn you learn about cultural etiquette across different cultures. You learn about unconscious bias. You help with reverse mentoring. Basically, that means that you help that person understand your situation as well and your blockers, and then it helps you to basically get off that. I don't even want to use the word imposter syndrome no more, but it helps you get off that fear of speaking to people that are from a white middle class background or a rich Asian background or maybe even a poor Asian background or wherever that people are from, another region of Africa or wherever. It's important to make sure that you get, and then it also teaches you how to, as a young male, I learned by getting a female mentor how to speak to a senior female colleague. And if you're a young female and you're in a male dominated industry, get yourself a male mentor that's a totally different ethnicity to you, because what that does, it helps you see like, oh, I'm having a one-on-one conversation with this person, they're acknowledging what I'm saying, they respect me, I can do this with other people. It helps to break those barriers, where rather than if you have a mentor with somebody that is the exact same race as you, exact same gender, they might teach you things, but you're not getting as much value as you could. That's the thing. So get a mentor. Second thing I would say on that, with like playing in the corporate world, get a sponsor. A sponsor is somebody that's going to be in rooms that you can't get in. That's typically going to be somebody like your manager's manager. So it might be like the director of your function, that's your manager's boss, basically. And what you want to do is you want to show that person every time opportunity you get, because first impressions last. People say like first 5 seconds of meeting someone. You want to get that person so enthralled by you that when they're in rooms with your manager, they're like, Godwin needs a promotion, or he needs to get high. And when it comes to consistency meetings, they're fighting your corner, telling your manager, no, give them a bigger pay rise or give them a bigger bonus. And then they're telling other senior leaders, watch out for this person, watch out for that person. Because that's how then when it comes time for promotions, you don't get left behind, because people have heard about you before they even seen you. Get yourself a sponsor. And the way to do that is you have to be, like I said, consistent and fearless. You got to sometimes just make that approach. The LinkedIn point now. So I had a conversation because I came up with a strategy where I thought we could use our old branch spaces to run events, where we had empty branch spaces that weren't being utilized after COVID. And I thought, why not get local entrepreneurs to run events here, bring customers in, and we can then engage their client base. So it worked amazingly well. We did events. The first ever event we did, we got like 100 people in a packed room, and it was too many people for the venue. But it looked good for me because it was like, rah, he's bringing that many people in here, and they've given up their time on a Friday, Thursday evening at 6 p.m. to come here to 8 to hear about banking. Amazing. Did that again a couple of times, and then I had a conversation with the head of our function at the time. Lovely guy, but he's very senior. He was basically like the CEO of a particular segment of the company. And so I kind of, I had that moment of truth as I saw him in the corridor, like walking in the office, and I thought, Nana, are you really gonna have this conversation with this guy? I had that moment of like, are you really gonna do this right now? And I was like, you know what? I have nothing to lose. Fearless. Put on the Superman cape. Let's go do it.
Bakery's waiting.
Let's do it.
Bakery's waiting.
And then it got to a point, I was thinking about it as I'm walking towards him, but then it got to the point where he's acknowledged me. He knows I'm walking in his direction. Yeah. So now there's no going back because I can't just turn around and walk after. So
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go.
I want to do it. So I walked up to him and I'm like, excuse me, you know, my name's Nana. I work in XYZ part of the company. I work in the marketing part of the company. I've come up with this concept here where, you know, I've utilized our empty spaces to bring customers in and it's going really well, blah, blah, blah. I'd love to see what your thoughts are on this. He's like, yeah, amazing. Have you got LinkedIn? And I thought, shit. So of course I'm not gonna tell him no. I'm like, yeah, of course. This was a Friday. Yeah. I went home that very day, jumped on LinkedIn, made a profile, added 50 of my friends, posted a picture, went back to him on Monday with an email, and I said, yeah, here you go. Well, of course I've got LinkedIn. Of course. He actually went out of his way and then directly introduced me to a business founder, that ran her own art shop that had been on Dragons. She'd been on Dragons Den, won funding and everything. And I brought her down to an event, and you can imagine every director wanted to help me then. Oh yeah, of course. Anyway, did that, and off the back of that success, that lady then fed back to him how much of a success it was and how much of a difference I had made for her. And then that gave me the sponsorship point. It gave me sponsors. People were like, oh, if you've got somebody that senior that's messing with you and actually trying to, I want to work with you then. And I make sure consistency. Even if somebody from Manchester rang me, you know what I would do? I'll get on the train and I'll go to Manchester. That might sound crazy to people, but that helped me in 1 year accelerate past colleagues that had been working in the bank 15, 20 plus years longer than me, because I was willing to really just say, you know what, I'm going to put in 12 months of consistent grind. I'm just going to put the work in. You know what I mean? And then that in itself, although I worked hard, was working smart. And that's how you play the game. You got to work smart. You got to understand that you're dealing with people. It's people relations. It's people management. Stakeholder management. I know what it means now. You know what I mean? Stakeholder management. You got to manage your stakeholders, internal and external. And if you do that effectively, that's basically what playing the game is. I feel like playing the game is building good relationships. Don't burn bridges. Even if you don't dislike a manager, you got to understand you work in a company on average. If it's a corporate company, it's going to employ more than 5,000 people. Your manager could change next month. There could be a restructure in teams. You could apply. You could go on secondment in another team. You can ask your director, I just want a different manager for XYZ reason. You just don't want to wild out and give people reasons to you know what I mean?
To run you under the bus.
That's really, really important. Do you think now, though, as people of colour, we have to work a lot harder to get to those positions or get sponsorship from these individuals?
There's elements of that, 100%. There's in wider community, there's definitely elements of that. I feel though, honestly speaking, I feel like my colour and my ethnicity, I can use that as my superpower, and I'll tell you why. I've been in rooms, where I'm the only black person there, and rather than having the feeling of, I'm the only black person here, like I mentioned earlier about that time when I was 3 days into my role, I thought, you know what? I'm the only person that understands the black market here. Like, I really understand what resonates with black people. So why am I going to be... And at the end of the day, like, the black pound is powerful. Like, at the end of the day, black people set a lot of trends with the things that we buy, you know, the things that the artists from our community represent. And so I thought... I'm going to use that as my superpower. Yes, 100%. There are instances, though, where you will have... In different industries, you will have... subtle racism. You will have in-house racism. There will be blockers, and of course there is underrepresentation when it comes to business and diverse founders getting access to capital. There is underrepresentation in senior roles. There's a lot of black and Asians even in lower roles across a variety of different organizations. But I feel like, especially now with the whole woke movement and companies trying to be more consciously aware, DE&I being a very big thing, massive thing. Yeah, I feel like you can really bend that to your benefit. Now, what I will say is, don't think that, because I'm an ethnic minority, I can just play the system and get into a job I know nothing about and just end up. I'm not saying bridge. I'm not saying that, because you will get tested, you'll get found out. Like at the level that I'm working at, you're expected to just get into the job, hit the ground running, and just do your thing. Whether you're in communications, whether you're in marketing, whether you're in fraud, analytics, whatever. So, but I will say 100%, because, like, for example, in the world I'm in now, propositions and project management and stuff, like, we work with clientele, different types of businesses, and founders and the community in general. People want to see people that representation that looks like them. A lot of corporate institutions now get actually reviewed and fined if they don't have ethnically diverse talent pool.
Yeah.
So it's important to understand that yes, historically, like you want to go into like old school Britain where you had like and in America, well, obviously in America you had Jim Crow, you had like redlining being a practice where when a black family moved into a neighborhood and a number of blacks moved into a neighborhood, the banks wouldn't lend to those particular areas, and essentially over a period of time, like different races will move out and they'd get the lending to get their homes, and that's how ghettos develop, where you have groups of people living in particular areas where financial institutions don't lend to them, and over a period of time you get your Detroits and areas like that, like in America, and similar here where people live in destitution. But that's changing a lot, and there's a lot of opportunities now. Yes, we're behind in certain aspects because of the history of slavery, etc. That's all a thing, but I feel like there's opportunity if you're willing to really be fearless and defeat that feeling of imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
But of course,
because I spoke on it as well. I think on episode 1 where I sort of touched on it, where I said like this is the first time in history that being black is cool. And oftentimes I speak to people and I'm just like, it's no longer an excuse to say I'm black so I can't do this, or I'm from an ethnic minority and I can't do that, because it's like right now it's cool to be like you turn on your TV and there's actually an active effort to have black people on there.
Yeah.
Like you turn on the radio, you do everything, and even the podcast we're doing, and there's a lot of people there. So it's like this is no longer an excuse, and I think right now it's just for you to sort of pull your head in the game and be like, yeah, this is what's happening and I'm going to capitalize on it. And yeah, as you said, you find a role, but if you don't, and I said this, even if you don't know it, just go in there.
But a lot of companies now also, their D&I numbers, I think when I used to be in corporate before I started my business, but now when I was in corporate, there was always this stat that you had to have 25% of your population had to be from it had to be focused on the black and ethnic minorities. So a lot of businesses are really focused on that now. Even from my own business perspective, the last couple of years, the amount of things I get called to do come October, it's like, oh my gosh, you're a black business. Oh, you need to come in. You need to come and do this. I mean, I get inundated. October is the busiest month for me because it's just like, we want to show that we're diverse. We want to get involved in small businesses, etc., etc. So yeah.
But I'll say it shouldn't just be October.
No, it shouldn't. It should be across the year. 100%.
It shouldn't be a token gesture. It definitely shouldn't be a token gesture. And that's why I like to do what I do, because I like to create the norm for founders as well as individuals, whether they're trying to get into work or financial services, of you belong here. So that's why I like to do a lot of social impact stuff, bring kids into Canary Wharf and show them, yo, you deserve to be on the 30th floor of this building looking down on London if you want to.
And I remember when I was younger as well, one of the things that inspired me to want to work hard was I was in Gifted and Talented in year 10. Yeah. Year 10, I think. And then we went to Ernst & Young at the time.
Okay.
And imagine as a kid that you're in this building, the one in London Bridge, and it's like 20th floor, and people are serving you and they're bringing you sandwiches that... Obviously, in Africa, we don't eat sandwiches. We're like, oh my god,
sandwiches! We don't eat sandwiches. No, but I don't know what Africa you live in, bro.
No, but it's not a normal thing for you to have a sandwich.
Well, you don't have sugar bread in Nigeria.
Yeah, we have aggregate bread. We have aggregate bread.
Milo.
Aggregate bread and Milo. And then that's it. But it's there, and you're like, you see people serving you, and you're like, oh my god, like how do people get in here? And how do people work in here? And it inspires you. Yeah. And that's things you need to see, and it's like, and that's good that you said you're doing that. And you also, which is the next point I wanted to touch on, which is that you also, deputy co-chair of the Black Professional Resource Group. Like, what does that entail? And what does that entail? And also, whilst you're also answering that, I see you do a lot of work, like in terms of creating opportunities, broadcasting opportunities for people, and sometimes I repost it, sometimes I don't, not because I don't want to, I might miss it or whatever. But it's like I like that you're actively going out of your way to do that, and that's something that we need to see more of as well.
Definitely.
Yeah. So with the Black Professionals Resource Group, the way I got involved with that was, in all honesty, a colleague that was the actual co-chair. So you have the structure of like the co-chairs who are the leads of. For those that might not know what an employee resource group is, when you work in a corporate institution, similar to like in university, like where you have university societies and groups, you have employee resource groups that are basically groups of colleagues that come together for like-minded activities. So you might have a Black professionals, you might have Asian professionals, Latin professionals. We have like a socioeconomic working group. We have one for military leavers, etc. So I joined the Black Professionals Resource Group because the colleague that actually was one of the co-chairs, one of the leaders of that, tapped me on the shoulder and was like, I want you to work with us in an employee resource group. At the time, again, I was still finding my feet in the bank. So I was like, what is that? Like, I had no idea what it was, because what it was is, and with the employee resource groups, it's a benefit when you get into the head office. When you've got time, you can work from home. You don't have a customer calling out your line 24/7. You got time to read your emails and you know. So you're like, oh, there's colleague groups forums where you can come together, like other like black colleagues, right from junior all the way up to director level. And so I thought, cool, let's get into this. And then the very first thing I thought was, I want to. So deputy co-chairs lead on different things. Like I lead on colleague engagement, which is about making sure that no one gets left behind. Like colleagues, whether you're in the branch, whether you're on the telephone, whether you're in head office, wherever you're at. So I thought, I need to fix this, because until about 4 years, it took me 4 years of my career to even find out what this is. There must be other colleagues similar positions that can have access to a black director or a black managing director, because that's what it is. It's like groups of colleagues like that from either the same ethnicity, same background, etc., that come together and they will run events collaboratively, or they will knowledge share. And you might have a director that works in marketing, and you're trying to get into marketing, but you're a cashier in the branch, and you want somebody to teach you the basics or get you in for some shadowing, playing the game. So I thought I need to get this in front of branch colleagues and people that are in customer facing roles. Hence why that then led into me doing what I did with the branches, where I thought, I might not have people under me that I'm managing, but I can teach somebody that's working as a cashier how to do events management by working with them and showing them the ropes. If they're willing to put in a bit of their own time between 6 to 8 p.m. every night, I can show you how to do an event. I can show you how to work with marketing. I can show you how to project manage. And I was able to help a lot of colleagues from lower socioeconomic backgrounds and ethnic minority groups get promotions in that period of time by working with them and showing them how things run. Now, the reason I promote a lot of opportunities to our people, whether it's banking, whether it's logistics, transport, whatever, is because at the end of the day, I had a major, number one, when I got into the corporate world, I looked at like banking. I looked like when I joined the bank, I thought, all I'm going to be is a branch manager or a relationship director. That's how I saw it. I literally just thought I'm going to be one of those guys that goes out to see customers, or I'm going to manage a branch. And maybe if I'm lucky, I'll become a community director when I'm like 60 or something. That's how I thought I looked at life. Then I realized, wait a second, they have a team for data and analytics. They've got a team for communications. They've got a team that does their marketing. Oh shit, of course. Like, things that are snapping in my head. So then I thought, like, I've got friends who I tell, you can apply for TFL. You could be a train driver. Oh, I can't do that, man, because like me, like I'm like, no, man, like what you like, and then I'll try and help people out. Like, listen, they got like a part-time job, 14 hours a week in the museum as a customer service advisor. But guess what? You get in and you got the free oyster now, and you're in the company. Then you can navigate.
Yeah.
Then you're in the company. You go to the and then go to the socials. Another thing, when your work has socials, I know like as black people,
that's a lot gets done in those socials.
This the hard way.
Go to the socials.
Yeah.
To the socials, man.
Socials.
Don't be one of those. Nah, they're not cool enough for me. Those are work people.
I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna pay
Listen,
your bills.
I'm thinking of taking. Do you know there's a black golfing society?
Yeah, I do.
And I wanted to join it just so that I could get in, because that's where a lot of deals are done.
Yeah, go to the socials, because I think I learned in my first role where like I was hesitant, and then when I joined my second company. It was like, as you said, sponsors. So when it was my first company, when it was time for me to leave, there was no one like fighting my corner. There was no one backing me. So when I left to my next role, I was like, what did I do different that I could do differently? So when I then went to the next role, I was like, okay, what I did was I didn't engage enough with people. I didn't go to enough socials. But when I started doing that, it was like, oh, wow. Because people start to talk about you like, oh, my God. As long as you don't go to the socials and get hammered and
Yeah.
make a fool of yourself. We're not encouraging that.
Yeah.
But yeah, people speak to you because they see a different side of you, like the human side. Because oftentimes in work, they just see the work side, and it's also work doesn't give you enough opportunity
To show your full personality.
to show your full personality. Yeah, because you want to be mute and you want to be a certain personality to fit in at work. But once you're at the socials, you see like the directors and you're like, oh, I didn't know my director could have fun.
Exactly.
Like, oh wow.
One of my old directors told me she loved me, and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, oh, well, love you too. Promotion next week. You know what I mean? Like, but like when people are a bit more loose,
but it's
a
true.
bit less,
And it's good for you to go to these things. Like even if you're not there all the time, it's good to show face a few times as well. Even in my role that I'm in now, I sort of encourage colleagues to sort of go to it and be like, yeah, especially now that there's more of a culture from working from home and stuff, it's good to sort of go to their things, engage with people, talk to them, see how their day is. And as you said, first impression lasts long, and you don't know when people are going to speak about you or speak for you in a room. They'll be like, oh my God, that's a cool person. Like, that's it. People are in jobs today because they're cool people.
Yeah, that's why that's why it's also important to not to burn bridges. Never burn a bridge.
100%.
Even if you have a negative manager, don't show out and be irate. You always just leave on with equity, leave with on equitable circumstances, leave in a positive light. Even if you want to leave teams, even if you're not enjoying it, even if your manager grinds your gears and you have issues getting along, leave on a positive note. Because I've seen situations where people end up being managed by people they thought they'd never see again. And then you end up in awkward situations.
That happened to me. I'll tell you an interesting story about me. So I worked in this job, and I was a black female that was managing a group of you all right, mate? Yeah, a group of guys, and I did really well at my job. So I was doing recruitment at the time, and I was like acing everybody. I was doing really well. But obviously black female managing these guys didn't go down very well. So the company went through a bit of a downturn, etc. And then it was like, okay, like it came to me having a conversation with my director, because I reported to the director, and it's like, oh yeah, but you know your team's figures are down. But I said, but the team's figures are down. I'm a billing manager. I'm still doing really well. So why haven't I got at me? Because I'm managing the team when they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Not my fault. Anyway,
the manager here, I think.
Listen,
I don't know what to tell you.
I'm making money.
I don't know how to tell you,
I'm making money.
If your team isn't doing well.
I told them what to do. They didn't follow my blueprint. So anyway, conversations were had. Anyway, got to a stage where I decided, you know what, it's time for me to part ways and leave this organisation, which I did. So I then decided to go and get a job with the highest billing client that we worked with.
I hear it. Yeah,
So then so some of my friends were still working at this organisation, and then I then sent an email out from this, because it was financial services. I then sent an email out like a hi to all the agencies we're using, blah blah blah. I'm the new head of da da da.
Love that.
Then apparently the director started running around the office saying, "Why did you not tell me she was going there? That's our biggest client." Never be nasty to people, because you never know where they turn up. And there you go.
Love it.
See, yeah. So that story, I tell people, I'm like, yeah. Do you know it pays nothing just to be nice to people? Leave on good terms, even if you can't stand somebody. 100%. Just leave on good terms. Yeah. Just because you don't know where people are going to end up. You honestly don't know where people are going to end up. But we're going to have to round up, and I think before we do that, I think one thing we'd really like to know from you is, what initiatives do you see in the corporate world that you think are really good?
For the benefit of like diversity, or
just in general?
In general. Okay, reverse mentoring is a big thing now in the corporate world. A lot of leaders now are conscious that they have unconscious bias a lot of the time, and are trying to reverse that. And I know it might seem like like, wow, how am I going to mentor somebody that's like been in their field 10, 15 plus years? Get involved in that. Because I'm telling you, that creates so many opportunities. Like I had the opportunity to reverse mentor the head of a function, like MD, and I was sat there again thinking, why am I speaking to this person, telling them what to do in their job? But honestly speaking, they took the feedback I gave on board, and then they became a mega sponsor for me. Like honestly, I'm talking about they were on going to a social with other MDs, like, no, come here, what are you doing? Come with us. And I was like, and then before you know it, I'm having gin and tonics with people earning triple my wage. I'm like, so you gonna buy that one? Yeah, you get that, you get the round. I'm you get it. You know what I mean? But like honestly, reverse mentoring is one thing, and reverse mentoring is basically, rather than them mentoring you, you're mentoring them around so for example, let's say it's a managing director that's not really close to the nuances of your role. They're gonna come to you like, okay, you've been in my team for 2-3 years or however long. How can I get more of you? How can I get people like you to like my leadership style and stay in my team? What blockers are my leaders underneath me putting in front of you to stop you from doing your job? That are they really managing you the way they should be managing you, type of thing? You can get to have those types of honest conversations. So that's the one. Employee resource groups, get involved, like I mentioned. Employee resource groups are like university societies. It's important. It's really important. You find your tribe, you find your people. It helps you to essentially get that confidence in yourself that there's people like you in that organization. Another thing that I'll say a lot of corporate organizations do quite well is apart from the socials and everything that I would advise you to definitely go into. A lot of the time, corporate organizations will pay for additional qualifications. Like in the bank I work in, Barclays, for example, you can, as long as you have a valid business case. So let's say I work in project management now.
Yeah.
If I could present a good enough business case to my head of function or managing director around me going to do a degree or something, degree in project management, that's going to help the bank financially. The bank will pay for it. If I get into like a role like a senior business manager where I'm doing lending deals for clients and stuff, the bank will pay for those qualifications. Qualifications like that are not just to one institution. It helps you across the whole field. And if you can go, like if you're a mortgage advisor, for example, and you can say I'm CMAP qualified, that's not going to help you in one company. That will help you everywhere, even if you want to become self-employed. So always have the willingness to learn. I feel like a lot of us will get to university and we're like, throw the shackles off. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done. I'll get the masters even. I'm done. Like it would actually, in my, and this is not advice. This is more it's onto you. But in my opinion, it would be smarter for you to get into a role either through an apprenticeship and get the degree on the side and get paid, or like if you go to uni, get your degree and you get a role, rather than thinking, oh, I'm gonna then study my masters in this field. Why not like essentially get that experience and get, it might be a bit of a harder grind, but get that qualification while you work. There's hybrid working now. You can do 4 days a week and start, rather than doing 5 days 9 to 5, do 4 days 8 to 6, an extra hour a day. You can do all of that. So I would say definitely though, 100% have an attitude where you're willing to continuously learn, and your workplace, if you can bring value, will fund that for you 100%.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Nana. It's been really insightful. You've taught us a few things, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely.
And you've definitely brought together a lot of things we've talked in previous series about episodes even. There you go.
Soon to be series. You guys are doing a brilliant job. I've got to say, it's been an amazing experience, and I've watched the previous episodes. Honestly, this is a brilliant podcast, so I definitely would encourage all the viewers to subscribe. I'm doing like, subscribe.
We like it. We need other people to say these things.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Nana. It was insightful having a conversation with you around thriving in the corporate world, and obviously your experiences as well personally, which is really good, because what we want to do for this podcast is make a lot of things personable, and these are things that we've experienced, and those are things the guests have experienced. It's not us talking on things hypothetically that may or may not be. But on that note, thank you once again. Wish you best of luck as well. We heard there's an award coming on the way. Fingers crossed. So next time we speak. But thank you very much again. This is Changing the Narrative. I'm Godwin.
And I'm Jay, and peace out.
Thank you.